How to get to 5D. Take responsibility for yourself. Ivo and I have talked on this subject ad nauseum. So we're not going to tell you how to do it today. If you want to know how, check out any of our other videos as well as read this entire section on how to get to 5D. The easiest way to tell you is to keep your focus on yourself. Watch your thoughts, your moods, and the way you treat people and the way you allow them to treat you. An increase in consciousness is the solution to this narcissistic sociopathic matrix. That is what the people of Earth, in their masses, are going through now. They are waking up. Rising consciousness is what waking up actually is. You took on some sociopathic traits you learned by living in the matrix. Maybe you blame people for your unhappiness. It's my last boyfriend's fault. He made me this way. Nobody molds you. You mold yourself. I blamed old boyfriends for the longest time for my becoming avoidant, but it wasn't even about that in the end. The more conscious I became, the more tuned in I became to the fact that my true love isn't on Earth. It was never these guys' faults. I also thank them for letting me see some of the underbelly of life and helping me to find my own power again. Maybe you feel that killing or harming another is a good practice of justice. This is revenge. It's not going to resolve anything. Years ago I was in a car accident, which turned out to be a Matrix takeout attempt on my life. That was the first time I remember hearing Ivo, who helped me live through it. I walked away with only whiplash and scratches. A few years later I was driving the company car, a big 1979 Ford LTD, out by the train yard. As I turned to go up the bridge I looked to see a man crossing the road. It was the man who had hit me a few years earlier. I could see the fear on his face as he recognized me and he knew I recognized him. Our eyes met and my anger may have showed, but I stopped and let him cross. Of course I'm not going to mow someone down. Come on. Maybe you feel that suing somebody for money is a good way to exact justice for wrongdoing, instead of forgiving and helping the person who stole from you to increase their consciousness level. I get people nicking artwork from my website all the time and I do go after them. I've not done anything legally yet. At first I tell them that I know they've taken it and I demand they stop. I don't like being stolen from because this invalidates my free will and that is my right to be the exclusive owner of my own property. Have you ever stolen anything from anyone? Well, then this is what you've done to them. And yes, it is sociopathic behavior. Anything that lies outside of alignment with universal law is, and this whole society is based upon violation of universal law and the rights and freedoms of other people. I'm not saying you're a sociopath. I'm saying you took on sociopathic tendencies because they were taught to you when you were young. You learned them and now you can unlearn them. And they may cause you great pain now. Mine did. I was taught these tendencies, to blame others, to hate others. Really, when I look back, what good did it do me, or them? No good. So it was pointless. Look back when we went to school and the teacher sent bad kids to the office for the strap. Did that stop them from being bad? No. They may have continued on in fear of the strap, but that would only enforce their bad behavior because fear is of low frequency, so is bad behavior. The real solution is healing. Maybe healing for the teacher who, yes, wanted to have some decorum in the classroom so they could help the children learn, but the teacher needed to learn to deal with kids who were just more rambunctious than the other children. Some of these kids, looking back, were probably ADHD or hyper, through no fault of their own. But they got the strap for being who they were. That is sociopathic. You can't punish someone for being who they are. Punishing someone for what they do is not even the right thing to do. All negative acts come from a negative part of their consciousness, so that is what needs to be healed. When we all take responsibility for ourselves and our thoughts and feelings, we begin to see there is a better way. We begin to enact this better way, leaving old low consciousness ways behind. It's a process. It doesn't happen overnight. There are more examples of sociopathic behavior. Any behavior we label unhealthy falls into that category. Like overeating, or eating the wrong foods. Why do we do this? I've called my eating habits masochistic, but both terms apply. They all fall into the same basket. Stop blaming others and start looking at why you want to blame them. That is the beginning of taking responsibility for yourself and raising your consciousness. Unlearn what the Matrix has taught you. Become more conscious. Tap into your higher self's wisdom. You know right from wrong. You feel a pang of, I shouldn't do this, and then sometimes you follow that with, but I can't help myself. That's why in the 12 steps they admit they are powerless over their substance or behavior. If you feel a pang of consciousness hit you the next time you want to steal a box of pens from the office stationery cabinet, go get your cell phone, find a quiet spot and call your friend and tell them that's what you want to do and you need to stop. Life's not about what you can get away with, folks. I remember the cleaning ladies who figured out they could call relatives in Europe by using one of the company phones. They had separate offices with phones for visitors, and yes, this was before cell phones were that popular, and the cleaning ladies used to use them to have long chats with their moms. Eventually the administration found out and recoded the phone to local calls only after 5 p.m. It's not what you get away with, it's what you can give that matters. You're not going to go through your life review after you die with Jesus saying, "Oh, yeah, you used to swipe stationery and use the company phones to make long-distance phone calls to mom. Good on you. God loves you." And that man you plowed into with the company car, that time you tried to shortchange the elderly lady at Wendy's, and all the times you screamed at the kids. Way to go. Get real, folks, if you think this is what will greet you on the other side. They want to know how you helped, not about the negative things you did. Frankly, that's how you make your life count, so you don't have to come back here. That in itself should be incentive enough, isn't it? Who wants to do this place twice? I don't. Just because nobody's looking doesn't mean you can't do the right thing. If you're more worried about looking good to others than you are about being good to yourself, you're codependent. I recommend Codependence Anonymous. It helped me. I'm watching a series on YouTube about people who talk about near-death experiences and their experiences on the other side. One pastor ended up in hell. You end up where your frequency aligns you with.